In 2022, we celebrate 130 years of HBCU football. On December 27th, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the 2022 season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media by using the hashtag HBCU130. Now, here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Friday, October 28th. I'm Donal Ware. It's Friday, week 9 of the HBCU football season. As a matter of fact, already started on yesterday with Miles and Edward Waters. I mean, you've got some pretty good matchups for week 9, some matchups that will have conference implications. You can look at A&T and Campbell. Virginia and Union and Shawan is a big one. Virginia Union, I believe, wraps up that CIAA Northern Division with a victory over Shawan. We've got a couple of games to really look at. Tuskegee and Kentucky State, one of the bigger ones, but without a doubt, the HBCU National Game of the Week is Southern at Jackson State. Now, I don't know if prior to the season, I thought that this would be the HBCU National Game of the Week. I expected Southern to be improved with Eric Dooley as the head football coach. And then I had some apprehensions going back several weeks ago when Southern was goose-egged by Texas Southern 34-0. But things have changed mightily for Southern since then. As a matter of fact, it's won 3 games, including a victory over Alcorn State to kind of put some distance. Alcorn State's got a lot of work to do now to have any chance of winning the SWAC's Western Division. So Southern is playing well. You know Jackson State is playing well. Undefeated, ranked number 1 in the HBCU coaches and media polls, and ranked in the FCS coaches and media polls as well. You know it's also a big game because ESPN's College Game Day is in Jackson, will be in Jackson, Mississippi as well. So you know this is a big-time football game with perhaps the 2 biggest fan bases in all of HBCU football in terms of traveling and so forth. So, even though Jackson State's got a great fan base, Southern's fan base is going to be in the house for this football game. And I think it's been, I want to say it's maybe been a little while since maybe this rivalry has meant as much between both schools, but it means really a lot. I mean, either school loses, it's an intra-divisional game, so it's not like the end of the world, but it's a big-time HBCU, big-time SWAC football game, and very much looking forward to the game. So let's break the game down. Let's break the teams down. Let's look at Jackson State. Obviously Jackson State's coming off that 22-14 victory over Campbell. It was homecoming in Jackson last week. So you're talking about back-to-back big crowds in Jackson. When I look at Jackson State, I mean, obviously Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback, is getting it done and in a mighty, mighty way. His touchdown-interception ratio is really, really good, although it sort of slipped maybe the last couple of weeks, but still, it's very, very good. I mean, the completion percentage is off the chart. Got receivers to throw the football to. What Jackson State has also been able to do a little bit more recently, particularly against Campbell, has been able to run the football, and that's definitely going to be a key if you're looking at Jackson State. I think they're going to have to do well in the running game this week, no doubt, because when I look at Southern, okay, I look at Southern, I look at this defense. I mean, this defense has played really well the last couple of weeks. And really, when you look at these two teams, you're looking at the number one offenses and the number two defenses in the SWAC. You're looking at both of those. And I think when you look at the bookends for Southern, they're going to be key. They're going to have to get some pressure on Shedeur Sanders. That offensive line for Jackson State has really held up well. I think you have to make Sanders uncomfortable. You have to get him out of the pocket. Now, he's shown some signs of being able to have some escapability and being able to use his legs when necessary, but he's definitely a pocket passer and a guy that likes to throw the ball from the pocket. He can do some other things, there's no doubt about it, but I think you have to make him feel uncomfortable. And I think Southern's defense the last couple of weeks has been solid. On the other side, right? So if I look at Southern's offense, it all begins with the quarterback. McCray, I think, has done, and I would just want to pull up some numbers on McCray, but Sean McCray has the best efficiency in the SWAC, even higher efficiency than does Shedeur Sanders. He's completed 94 of 139 passes, which is a 68% completion percentage rate. That's very, very good. It's not Sanders' completion percentage rate, which is well above 70%, but it's very, very good. He's got 1,304 yards, 12 touchdowns. He's also got 6 interceptions on the season. So, I mean, I think, when you look at the interception perspective, I mean, that's got to be of concern. But the thing about McCray, he's a guy that can also run the football. 406 yards rushing. He's averaging 6.7 yards per carry, which is one of the highest per yards carry in the SWAC. He's also got 5 touchdowns. I think he can present some challenges to that Jackson State defense. When I look at that Jackson State defense, I mean, that Jackson State defense is absolutely tremendous. Doesn't give up a lot of points. And and I'm going to look up these numbers for you real quick because I want to be, accurate about this. But when I look at Jackson State's run defense, okay, it is absolutely phenomenal. Give me a second to pull up these statistics. Okay, so from a defensive perspective, that's not what I was looking for right there. Let me look at team stats. Let's look at the totals. Okay, when you look at the defense of Jackson State, okay, this is still from excuse me, give me 1 second while I look up. Okay, this is from a rushing perspective. Giving up just 73 yards rushing per game. That's somewhere where Southern excels. Okay, Southern excels on the defensive, in the running game. So that may create a problem. But I think the key for Southern offensively is going to be McCray with both his arms and his legs. And I think that combination will have some success. You talk about being able to scheme up offenses. I mean, Eric Dooley does it as well and has done it many, many years as well as anybody has. So this is what I got for you in terms of a prediction. This is what I have for you. Everything says that Jackson State should win this game on paper, okay? Because even though both teams are 1-2 in terms of offense and defense in the SWAC, Jackson State is number 1 and by a pretty good margin over number 2 Southern. So that's number 1. Number 2, you've got the hype of ESPN College Game Day coming into the fold. I mean, that could go either way, but that's probably a good thing. And then you're going to have that crowd. Yeah, there's going to be some Southern people there, but you've got that Jackson State crowd. I mean, I think that game. What does Veterans Stadium hold? Is it 60,000? I mean, this is a game. I think that should be sold out. Last week's game, I think homecoming was at like 49,000 or something like that. I don't remember the exact number offhand, but I mean, I would expect that this, because Campbell's obviously not bringing a crowd, right? So I think this game is going to be sold out. I think Southern is going to bring a crowd. So those are the advantages for Jackson State. Whereas on paper, it is why Jackson State should win this football game. But I look at it from this perspective. I look at Southern. I look at the way Southern has played the last couple of weeks. It's played extremely well. And that was a tough Alcorn State win, Alcorn State win that Southern was able to get. You know, you look at it, you know, bit of a tune-up game against Virginia University of Lynchburg, so that's fine. But Southern's going to have some crowd at this football game. I like the way Southern is playing right now. I think that Southern is going to have an us against the world mentality coming into this game. And as you guys know that I like to do sometimes on right here, I like to go with the underdog sometime, and I like to go with a bit of an upset. And in this football game, even though everything on paper says that Jackson State's the better team, I'm going to go with Southern in an upset over Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi. Your thoughts, hit me up via Twitter at Boxtorow, BOXTOROW, on my personal Instagram account at DWare1. Check out the weekend edition of Box to Row, which begins tonight on ESPNU Radio on Sirius XM. That's 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Time, and 3 p.m. Pacific Time. ESPNU Radio on Sirius XM airs on Channel 84 on this weekend's edition of the program. Virginia Union head football coach Dr. Alvin Parker going to be one of our guests on the program. Also, you can find a radio station perhaps in your area that carries the program by logging on to our website at boxtorow.com and clicking on the affiliates link. Also, you can listen to Box to Row tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, that's 8 a.m. Central Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Sirius XM Channel 142 HBCU. This weekend, catch up on some of our HBCU football daily podcasts, where you can find us, of course, Monday through Friday on our website at boxtorow.com, also at iHeartMedia.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the HBCU Football Daily Podcast on the Box to Row YouTube page. Enjoy the game you're going to be at. I'm going to be at the greatest homecoming on earth, calling the A&T and Campbell game, so very much looking forward to that. Enjoy your game. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk with you on Monday.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast at boxtorow.com, iHeartMedia, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on Box to Row with Donal Ware each weekend on the radio station near you, and on Sirius XM on HBCU Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on Sirius XM Channel 84. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Box to Row for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend.